Hanji guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I think now I am audible and visible, right? Just give me a confirmation. Audible. Okay, thank you so much guys. Okay, so let's start our today analysis, right? थोड़ा delay हो गया है पर कोई बात नहीं, हम अपने proper तरीके से we will try to analyze the today's newspaper. Now, these are the main front page news that we have today. I think you can see over here. This was the news that we already discussed related to the cyclone Joy that has now made the landfall in the state of the Gujarat. As expected, it has made certain destructions, but people were evacuated in time and they were moved to the safer places. So, this is the point that you have to understand. Now, one thing that could be extracted out, let's say, yesterday I told you that there are certain facts that you can extract from it related to cyclones, which type of cyclone it is, severe cyclonic storm, right? The speed of the winds that you need to remember. The third thing that you need to understand, this is basically from the point of view of disaster management. Now, in GS paper 3, if I talk about the mains part, there are a lot of questions there we could say come out if we say about come from the part of the disaster management as well. So, this is how a disaster is to be managed, right? You need to move people to the safer places, you need to provide them the food, you need to provide them the rationing, and you need to make sure that there is lesser destruction to human life and property while you are managing the disaster. So, disaster preparedness is a very important component if we talk about how we have to handle a disaster. So, in this particular regard, this news become very important. You need to see the key points that have been taken by the Gujarat administration in relation to making sure that how people were evacuated and how people were made safe in the respective environments. So, ये एक important चीज बन जाती है, बड़ी ही important है, right? And the role that is being played by IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, that is also very important. Now, these are the things that you have to understand, because here we are doing what? We are basically trying to minimize the risk of a disaster, right? कि cyclone आएगा तो obviously disaster ही एक तरह से, but किस तरह से हम उसके risk को कम कर सकते हैं, that becomes very important. And it is absolutely beautifully highlighted how we have tried to manage this particular situation, right? So, ये news disaster management के point of view से बहुत ज़्यादा important है. Okay. Now, this is the issue that has been going on against the BJP MP. I think everyone is aware of the protest that has been held at Jantar Mantar by the wrestlers, right? So, there was a particular case in relation to POSCO Act. So, this POSCO Act becomes very important over here, that is Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. This act is very important. Prevention of Children from Sexual Offences Act. Now, this act is very important. A FIR earlier was registered in this particular act against the BJP MP, but now it has been withdrawn. So, you need to be aware that this particular act is very important for any cases related to offence that are there related to children below the age of 18 years. Right? So, this basically becomes very important. So, ये इस तरीके से हमें पता होना चाहिए कि की चीजें क्या हैं, अगर हम कोई भी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रहे हैं उसमें से की चीजें हम क्या आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं. यहां पे एक चीज आइडेंटिफिकेशन निकल रही है, दैट इज पॉस्को एक्ट बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इन द अपकमिंग लेट्स से कोई एडिटोरियल आएगा आने वाले टाइम में in the editorial page related to POSCO, then you would have a better idea what is this whole issue related to POSCO, what are the problems that are there in POSCO, what are the changes that the let's say the non-state actors wants to have in the implementation of the POSCO Act. Now, I think सबको पता है कि मणिपुर के हालात बहुत ज़्यादा खराब हैं. मणिपुर में the civil vigilantes have taken over the roads, they have blocked down the roads. As a result, army is not able to do enough in order to make sure that it is able to curb the violence in Manipur. वो कर नहीं पा रहे हैं क्योंकि जो main arterial roads हैं that have been captured by the women vigilantes, as you can see over here, women vigilantes block 6 arterial roads in Manipur. As a result, army is not able to do as much as it wanted to do in order to make sure that they are able to curb the violence in the state of the Manipur. And the whole issue has been boiled due to the problem of granting of ST status to the Meitei community. And I'm telling you guys, this particular aspect becomes very important, that is this Meitei community in the upcoming 2024 exam. तब हमें लगेगा यार ये तो एक साल पहले का करंट अफेयर था, बट यूपीएससी ट्राइज टू जज यू ऑन दीज पैटर्न्स ओनली, राइट? सो दिस बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फ्रॉम आवर पेपर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू फॉर यूपीएससी 2024. ओके, नाउ this is an interesting news that has come up. It is basically related to certain trends in economics. I think you can see over here, exports dip again, trade deficit hits 5-month high. Now this is an interesting news. Try to analyze it, right? Okay. Now if I talk about exports, now they have dipped again. They have been dipping for a certain time, but now they have dipped again. That is, fell 10.3% to $34.9 billion in May, while imports contracted at a slower 6.6% rate to $57.1 billion, lifting the trade deficit to a 5-month high of $22.1 billion. Now these are the figures and the facts that we need to understand. For the month of the May, if I have to talk about the trade deficit, that is the import of goods minus the export of goods, it is now roughly around $22.1 billion. The major problem that why we have this huge increase in the trade deficit is the result of what? It is a result of decrease in exports. It is a result of the decrease in the exports. Now if we talk about the overall situation that is happening around the globe, there are a lot of uncertainties. I think everyone is aware of this particular aspect. There is a Russia-Ukraine war. There is a recession that has been going on in the European countries as well as in the West countries. Australia में भी अगर हम बात करें आज के टाइम पे recession है, न्यूजीलैंड में भी recession है, वहां पे तो declare भी कर दी है. Now there are a lot of things that are there in the Western world, lot of uncertainties. As a result, people do not have money to buy the goods. As a result, our merchandise exports are not performing at a level where it had to be performed, right? You must have seen that in Western we could say countries, a lot of big tech giants are basically laying off their employees because they do not have the money to pay them. There is not enough demand in the market. So as a result, in order to understand the overall situation, you have to see कि हमारे exports की demand भी तो होनी चाहिए, तभी हमारे exports बढ़ेंगे. So this is the result. Our merchandise exports have fallen down to 10.3% to $34.98 billion. So this is the aspect that we need to understand, right? So this is the area that you need to understand. This is the part अगर हम बात करते हैं ना कि जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज बन जाती है, ये बेसिकली जो ट्रेड डेफिसिट है, this is very very important and we have seen that there are a lot of questions used to come but now there अभी ये ट्रेंड नहीं चल रहा, बट पहले बहुत ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस होते थे. अगर हम यूपीएससी की बात कर रहे हैं 2016-17 के, you pick up the exams, there were a lot of question on the trends कि trade deficit has been increasing or it has been decreasing. So you must be aware that these type of questions can come in the exam and you need to be aware what is the data related to the trade numbers, whether it is related to exports or whether it is related to imports. So this is the point that you have to understand, right? So ये हमारी अगर हम बात करें 4 major news हैं. One is related to trade deficit, that is coming to $22.1 billion. Women vigilantes blocking arterial roads. This is the act related to POSCO, and what one was related to disaster management due to the cyclone Joy that has hit the coast of Gujarat, right? Okay. Weber Mishra, sir, how to make strong basics because I am new in preparing. So if you are new in preparing, over the period of time, gradually your basics would become strong. First you have to do one thing, read newspaper daily, watch the analysis. Over the time you would be seeing your going through your GS part as well, and in the meanwhile you would be able to equip with yourself with new information, new concepts, and in the gradually अगर हम बात करें 1-2 महीने तक आपको newspaper easy लगना शुरू हो जाएगा. Okay. Now there is nothing important over here, ठीक है, जो हमारे UPSC के point of view से important हो. So I am directly gonna go to the editorial page, right? So these are all the pages that we're gonna skip, and this is the article that we're gonna discuss that is related to artificial intelligence. Now here are certain things that you have to understand. Yesterday I discussed that European Union is mulling to bring a certain law that tries to regulate what? That tries to regulate artificial intelligence. We have new systems that are coming under artificial intelligence like ChatGPT and Delhi, right? So there are certain things, certain problems that are there, or we could say there are certain worrisome factors that has to be addressed when we talk about artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence has been good. ChatGPT has been a revelation, if we can say, because it has been making concise paragraphs. Whatever you give it the information, it is able to bring in a lot of, we could say, potential good information to you guys, right? But when we talk about the technology, so it has a lot of advantages as well, but a lot of negative factors as well. So this article basically talks about those particularly negative factors that what are there related to artificial intelligence. Now, one of the things that they have highlighted in this whole editorial that you need to understand is that they are talking about is in the field of artificial intelligence, it does not have, let's say अगर हम मशीन की बात कर रहे हैं ना, मशीन में कॉमन सेंस तो नहीं है. मशीन में क्या है, कॉमन सेंस तो नहीं है. जैसे ह्यूमन में कॉमन सेंस है. लेट्स से इफ वी हैव टू infer something, you get a UPSC passage, a comprehension passage, you have to infer something, you basically use your common sense, right? Accordingly you then give your answer. But when we talk about these artificial intelligence models like ChatGPT, there is a particular set of coded information that has been put into the system, and accordingly it tries to bring those results. It doesn't infer something to use the common sense that is having the possibilities of a human mind and the brain that could be used by these artificial intelligence networks. So this is one of the problem that has been highlighted, that there is the lack of common sense. The second thing that they want to tell us is that is malicious humans with powerful AI. Now they are trying to say that these basically chat GPTs अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं तो सबसे पहले इन्होंने बात बोला है ये जो chat GPTs हैं हमारे, ये बेसिकली क्या प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं. एक पहली बात ये बोल रहे हैं these are LLMs, large language models. So this is a particular factual knowledge that you need to know कि ये जो मॉडल्स हैं कौन से हैं, large language models. One of the problem that they have highlighted is that these models can generate believable untruth as fake news and create deep mental anguish leading to self harm. अब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है, डेली एक सिस्टम है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के अंदर. मान लो अब कोई भी टेक्स्ट यहां पे इंफॉर्मेशन डालो, ठीक है, कुछ भी डाल दो, वो उसकी एक इमेज कन्वर्ट करके दे देगा. बट वेदर दैट इमेज, ये तो एक आर्टिफिशियली जनरेटेड इमेज है, वो सच तो नहीं है, पर हमें वो ऐसा लगेगा इट इज बिल्कुल, अगर हम बात करेंगे इट इज मैचिंग द ओरिजिनल और इट इज मेड, हैज बीन मेड बाय अ सर्टेन पेंटर. सो बेसिकली डू व्हाट, इट बेसिकली प्रेजेंट्स एन अनट्रुथ टू अ पीपल as a proper truth, and it could basically can cause a great discomfort to the people because of the false information. So this is the second thing that we have to understand कि यहाँ पे false information होने के chances बहुत ज़्यादा हैं. So पहली problem है common sense की, second है false information की, और third जो basic चीज है जो यहाँ पे बताई जा रही है, the major concern is related to privacy. This is the point that they need to understand, that privacy is a critical concern as algorithm systems watch the world constantly. If we are surrounded by artificial intelligence, so they have been fed into, they are being fed with the systems that they need to monitor. अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं प्राइवेसी के रिलेटेड मैटर हमेशा से, राइट. सो प्राइवेसी हमारी खतरे में है. क्यों? क्योंकि यहां पे ये कॉन्स्टेंटली मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं एआई सिस्टम, अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, एंड right to privacy is our fundamental right. So this is basically against the whole notion of the right to privacy. So this is the third concern that has been highlighted over here. यहाँ पे privacy का भी issue है. And if we talk about the fourth major concern that has been highlighted over here, that is very very important. Who is running these artificial intelligence models? अगर हम chat GPT की बात करते हैं, it was developed by OpenAI that began as a non-profit entity. And over the period of time, it has converted into itself a for-profit entity. Now, various tech giants, Google हो गया, हर इस फील्ड में आना चाह रहे हैं, and they want to make a better artificial intelligence models like Chat GPT. So the problem over here is who is developing those models? किसकी रेगुलेशन होगी इन टेक जायंट्स के ऊपर जो ये इतने बड़े बड़े आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के मॉडल्स बना रहे हैं. सो दीज आर द फोर कंसर्न्स दैट आर वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इट इज अ पॉसिबली मेंस क्वेश्चन फॉर यूपीएससी 2023 मेंस एग्जाम. आई एम टेलिंग यू गाइस, ये एक डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन है क्योंकि न्यूज में भी है. सो दिस कुड बी आस्क्ड डायरेक्टली इन द पेपर. सो यू नीड टू नो अबाउट दीज फोर particular points that are very very important. That first is the common sense, second is the large language models can create a lot of false information, third major concern is privacy, and the fourth major concern is who is running these models or who is running these projects. So these are the points that we need to understand, and in this particular regard, India doesn't have any law that regulates the artificial intelligence. So in this context, yesterday we discussed European Union एक law बनाया है जो कि basically regulate कर रहा है, right? Now they are basically saying that why India also needs to have a certain law, and they also start to think, considering how much disadvantage artificial intelligence could be if it is, let's say, left uncontrolled and unregulated. As you can see, there is a particular theme given as well. There needs to be systematic evaluation of the efficacy and the shortcomings of artificial intelligence in an Indian situation, even if doomsday prediction about AI use and its impact are baseless. So these are the points that you have to understand related to artificial intelligence, right? Okay. वैभव जो लाइव टाइमिंग है सेशन के 9 o'clock होते हैं, वी वर लाइव एट 9 o'clock टुडे, बट देयर वाज सर्टेन टेक्निकल इशू, दैट इज व्हाई we were not able to take the class at 9 o'clock, but we have resolved the issue and we have now rescheduled it to 11 a.m. Otherwise, everyday session is at 9 a.m. right? Okay, thank you, Rohit. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand this particular article. It was a very complex article. Now, if you would read this article again, I think you would be able to understand more clearly. So just go through it and you would be able to understand it. Now, there's nothing important over here. This is related to the next phase of US-India defense ties. We already know what areas that India-USA is, let's say, basically engaging upon, right? अगर हम बात करते हैं इंडिया और यूएस से क्रिटिकल इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज में, अगर हम बात करें, इनिशिएटिव है इनका, स्पेस इनोवेशन के अंदर इनका इनिशिएटिव है, डिफेंस के अंदर अगर हम बात करेंगे इनकी इनिशिएटिव्स चल रहे हैं, राइट? सो देयर इज अ डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजी एंड ट्रेड इनिशिएटिव एज वेल. So you need to know these basic points in relation to India-US relations in the field of defense sector. You have critical and emerging technology, you have the space innovation programs, you have the cooperation in the defense part, and India has been designated as the most valuable partner or ally of USA recently as well. So that brings USA or India very closer to USA as well, because these things are happening ahead of our Prime Minister visit to US. Plus, there is one thing that you need to understand that overall context में अगर हम बात करें, इंडिया और यूएसए के जो फ्रेमवर्क हैं सिक्योरिटी को लेके, डिफेंस को लेके इन द रीजन ऑफ इंडो पैसिफिक, दे शेयर द सेम विजन. They share the same vision in relation to Indo-Pacific region. That is, the Indo-Pacific region, when they are talking about, shall be a free, open and rules-based order that needs to be followed in the area of what? Indo-Pacific region. So these are the points that have been majorly highlighted over here. You just need to remember these particular points: defense technology and trade initiative, Indian critical and initiative of critical and emerging technologies, and the shared vision that we have for the Indo-Pacific region, right? Okay, moving to the next part. This is nothing important over here, right? अच्छा, अब ये एक बेसिक्स है, हमने पहले ओके अच्छा बस इतना जान लो. यहाँ पे रिसेंटली कॉलेजेस और यूनिवर्सिटीज की रैंकिंग निकली थी, शायद सबको पता होगा, हमने पहले डिस्कस भी किया था. दैट रैंकिंग वाज ब्रॉट बाय द नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क, राइट? सो इट वाज द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन दैट हैड एस्टैब्लिश्ड द नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशनल रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क इन 2016 टू डिटरमाइन द इंडिकेटर्स थ्रू विच इंस्टीट्यूशन परफॉर्मेंस कुड बी मेजर्ड. NIRF uses 5 indicators to determine this score. Now this becomes very important from our prelims point of view कि जो नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट रिसर्च रैंकिंग फ्रेमवर्क है, जो बेसिकली रैंकिंग्स निकाल रहा है, वो कौन से 5 इंडिकेटर्स को यूज कर रहा है. दोस 5 इंडिकेटर्स आर टीचिंग फर्स्ट, सेकंड इज लर्निंग एंड रिसोर्स, थर्ड इज रिसर्च एंड प्रोफेशनल प्रैक्टिस, फोर्थ इज ग्रेजुएशन आउटकम, एंड फिफ्थ इज outreach and inclusivity and perception. So these are the points that you need to remember, that these are the 5 areas on which National Institute ranking framework, when they have to assess any institution, that the rankings are based on these particularly 5 indicators: teaching, learning and resource, research and professional practice, graduation outcomes, outreach and inclusivity and perception. But the problem that they have highlighted through this text page is these rankings lack transparency and brings out unhealthy competition between universities. कह रहे ये डेटा है, ये डेटा जब ये निकाला जा रहा है इसमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी नहीं है, तो हम इसमें बिलीव नहीं कर सकते हैं कि एक्चुअली में ये बिल्कुल सही है, क्योंकि इससे हो सकता है कि अनहेल्दी कंपटीशन प्रमोट हो किसके बीच में? यूनिवर्सिटीज के बीच में. दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट दे हैव ट्राइड टू हाईलाइट. यू जस्ट नीड टू रिमेंबर अबाउट NIRF under Ministry of Education gives the rankings, right? and it has recently, I think, Indian Institute of Science Bengaluru was designated as the top institution of the country, right? So this is a point you have to understand. Okay, so nothing important over here, right? यहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. इंडिया अनमैन्ड एरियल व्हीकल्स बाय कर सकता है ड्यूरिंग द पीएम्स यूएस विजिट. दैट वी हैव टू सी whether India buys or not, right? Okay, now this is the important news that you have to understand, very very important. BIMSTEC to adopt Bangkok Vision 2030 at next summit. Now BIMSTEC is Bay of Bengal initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. It contains following countries: Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka and Thailand. ये 7 कंट्री से मिलकर एक BIMSTEC ग्रुपिंग बनती है. If we talk about its relevance, somehow it has been lost over the period of time. But now, because now Thailand is chairing this particular BIMSTEC, it is basically has or would be coming up with the Bangkok Vision 2030, that is basically in relation to marine transport cooperation. Very very important. This is in relation to marine transport cooperation. So this is the thing that you have to understand, that BIMSTEC might introduce the or adopt the Bangkok Vision of 2030. So this could be a prelims question that could be asked, that Bangkok Vision 2030 किसने अडॉप्ट किया? It has been adopted by BIMSTEC. और BIMSTEC में कौन सी कंट्रीज है? That I have already discussed. And who is currently the chair of, let's say, BIMSTEC? That is Thailand. That is why यहाँ पे जो अडॉप्ट किया जाएगा, that is the Bangkok Vision 2030. That what is the vision that they have in their mind for the year or for up to the year 2030, that they want to ensure कि यार अगर मरीन ट्रांसपोर्ट कॉर्पोरेशन बढ़ेगी, ट्रेड बढ़ेगा तो इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी आएगी. किसके बीच में? जितनी भी ये कंट्रीज हैं. सो दिस इज द पॉइंट दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. बट अगर हम BIMSTEC की ओवरऑल बात करें, कहीं ना कहीं इसकी रेलेवेंस पहले टाइम से अगर हम कंपेयर करें तो काफी कम हो गई है, राइट? ओके, यहां पे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, हम ऑलरेडी डिस्कस कर चुके हैं, ठीक है? अच्छा, अब एक चीज है यहां पे, ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, ध्यान से देखना. इंडिया EU ICT केस WTO अग्रीज टू वेट टिल September 19. आई थिंक सबको पता है कि देयर वाज अ पर्टिकुलर केस बिटवीन इंडिया एंड यूरोपियन यूनियन अगेंस्ट इंडिया, where India was levying imports on certain, let's say, communication and information technology products. That didn't go well with European Union. As a result, they filed a complaint in the dispute settlement body, where the dispute settlement body said that it is not right up for the part of the India that they are levying the tariffs, because that is against the rules of the World Trade Organization. In this particular context, India had then let's say approached the dispute settlement appellate body, but now what is being done in this whole process is India and EU are saying give a certain time, we would resolve the issue bilaterally. वो खुद ही कह रहे हैं कि हमें कुछ टाइम पीरियड दे दो, सितंबर 19 तक आपके पास आने की हमें जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, हम ये खुद में ही सॉल्व कर लेंगे ये पूरा इशू. तो ये चीज आपको पता होना चाहिए कि ये जो प्रॉब्लम चल रही है किसके बीच में चल रही है, इट इज बीइंग गोइंग ऑन बिटवीन इंडिया एंड EU, right? So this thing is very very important that you need to understand. Okay, ये वही चीज चल रही है, ये थोड़ा पॉलिटिक्स चल रही है सेंटर और कर्नाटका की स्टेट के बीच में, बिकॉज ओपन मार्केट सेल ऑफ फूड ग्रेन्स हैज बीन स्टॉप्ड टू कंट्रोल इन्फ्लेशन. I think everyone knows that when Congress basically went to power in Karnataka this year, it had made certain promise that it would be giving free food grains, let's say, to the needy ones, right, to the Antyodaya households and to the people below the poverty line. But now center has stopped saying that there is an inflation in the market, that they have stopped the sale of food grains under the open market sale scheme. As a result, state government of Karnataka would not be able to fulfill the promise that they had basically given to the people of the Karnataka. So in this particular context, that center has said that while you are announcing certain freebies or subsidies, you need to consult the center in order to ask what is the situation that is there in the center, how much of food grains that the state can procure from the center. So ये एक मैटर बन चुका है, बट ये बड़ा अगर हम बात करें पॉलिटिकल मुद्दा बनता जा रहा है, राइट? ओके, so I think that's it for today. There is nothing that much important over here that we need to discuss, right? Okay, and we are done with the today's analysis. There is nothing important that is there in the economics page as well, and we are done with the today's analysis, right? So thank you for joining with us, for staying with us, those who have stayed, right? मेरे को पता बाकियों की क्लासेस होंगी तो वो क्लासेस में चले गए होंगे, so we don't have that many live students, but tomorrow we will meet again same time 9 AM, right? The timing is 9 a.m. Those who are new as well, we will meet again at 9 a.m. Till then, take care. Bye bye. And these are the points that you need to understand. Read the articles related to artificial intelligence and India-US defense ties. Those are the most important editorials that you need to understand. Make sure you note down the important points. Then only your newspaper reading purpose would be solved. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. We will see each other tomorrow. Same time, 9 a.m.